Today we'll be taking a look at the trial of Sacco and Vanzetti and what that showed about American attitudes towards immigrants at the time. On April the 15th, 1920, a guard and a paymaster of a shoe factory in Massachusetts were shot and killed in a robbery. Around $15,000 was stolen and two men were seen leaving the scene. Two Italian immigrants named Sacco and Vanzetti were later arrested and the most controversial trial of the century followed. As we already know, the situation in America at this time was quite tense. White Anglo-Saxon Protestants, or WASPs as they were sometimes known, believed that America should only allow certain people to live there, and this attitude gave way to things like the KKK and the Red Scare, which we've already looked at. As a result, racism and prejudice began to grow more and more obvious at this time. The arrest of Sacco and Vanzetti is widely considered to be an example of this prejudice, as the evidence used against them was really weak at best. The main reason a lot of people think that they were arrested was that they were well-known anarchists, which was often paired with communism. The growing fears towards these two ideas because of the Red Scare at the time may have led to a wrongful accusation. Some of the evidence given against the pair at the time included, I didn't see his face, but it was definitely them, they ran like Italians. Obviously this sounds ridiculous, but for some reason it was still held up in court. Another witness said that one of the criminals had a moustache, which meant that it must be Sacco and Vanzetti, because one of them also had a moustache. Vanzetti was also accused of driving away from the crime scene, but later investigations showed that he didn't even know how to drive. Other testimonies also said that the criminals were actually blonde, not dark-haired. Both Sacco and Vanzetti also had people who could account for their whereabouts at the time of the crime. Sacco's family all claimed that he was with them all day in Boston, 20 miles away from the crime scene, with photos to prove it. Vanzetti had someone come forward and say that he was selling fish at a market all day, so he could not have committed the robbery. However, the witness, called Angelo Guidobone, was not believed because he was also Italian, and it was decided that he was just trying to get his fellow Italians off the hook. Therefore, all the evidence presented in favour of the two was ignored. The pair were eventually deemed guilty, which led to huge outcry in parts of the country and riots in places like London and Paris. However, despite this outrage and 6 years of legal appeals, the two men were eventually executed by the electric chair in 1927. It is well documented that the senior judge of the trial, Webster Thayer, was openly prejudicial towards immigrants and was even heard muttering insulting names and phrases towards Sacco and Vanzetti whilst the trial was going on. The innocence or guilt of these two men may never be proved one way or another, but what we can be sure of is that it represented the wider, intolerant attitudes present in America at the time.